When the Russian war on Ukraine started, we all watched in shock and disbelief. We felt shock and disbelief as the war unfolded, with all its horrible destruction of human lives, of cities and villages. We felt the urgency of the situation of people with intellectual disability and their families in Ukraine, most of them unable to shelter from bombs or to leave the war zone. When the Russian war started, people with intellectual disability and their families were in a very bad situation to start with. There are over 200,000 people with intellectual disabilities in Ukraine. Most of them live with their families. 41,000 have been declared incompetent by court, deprived of their basic human rights. Many tens of thousands of children and adults are placed in care institutions. For most people with intellectual disability and their families, it is impossible to escape from the war. They are scared to go outside because they don't even know when a missile is going to fall on their head. They cannot go to bomb shelters because these are not accessible. They have little access to food and medicine. But of course, many people with disabilities fled the war. They became refugees in Ukraine and in other countries. We have heard very little about humanitarian agencies reaching out and helping people with disability. This has been a huge disappointment given how much money they get to help people. And often, many of them talk about diversity and inclusion. Most of the support provided to people with intellectual disabilities come from disability organizations and NGOs. This is both in Ukraine and in other countries. Disability organizations and NGOs traveled to Kiev and to other cities to deliver supplies. They helped to evacuate people with disabilities. They provide support to refugees with disability in Ukraine and in other countries. We are grateful to all organizations and people who contribute to help people with intellectual disability affected by the war. The war has created many problems for people with intellectual disability. It has made existing problems worse. All our achievements have come to nothing, said one family member, talking about how the war destroyed years of support, learning, working towards inclusion. We cannot allow this. People with intellectual disability and their families in Ukraine need our support. One, humanitarian support must reach people with intellectual disability and their families. These include those in care institutions. Refugees with disability need better support in EU countries, disability status recognition, accessible accommodation, education, and jobs. Disability inclusive rebuilding. Ukrainians with intellectual disability and their families need our support to build a better future for themselves. The international community must support disability inclusive rebuilding, community-based service, accessible housing, prevent people who lost family members from ending up in care institutions. The Ukrainian government needs to reform legal capacity laws and other relevant rules and policies to stop restricting people's rights, to provide accessible information on humanitarian help and all other measures, involve and consult with people with intellectual disability and their families. But first and foremost, Russia must end its horrible war on Ukraine.